soldier, naval aviator, POW, a father, son, a husband. They once called him congressman, and now call him senator. Some call him hot-headed. Some call him names that can't be repeated. But of all the names so many have called John McCain in his years of service to America, truly, at his core, John McCain is a
mama's boy.
A four-star warrior for a grandfather, who stood on the USS Missouri and watched the Japanese surrender, went home from war the next day, and died. A four-star father, commander of the Pacific at the time his son was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. His father would take a single guard and drive to the border between North and South Vietnam. He'd stand for hours, gazing north. It was as close as he could get to his son, who was imprisoned in downtown Hanoi, the city he'd just ordered to be carpet-bombed. It was a love for America above all else for the McCains.
Our military family is like all military families. It's kind of a case of make-do. We're all in it together. A Navy family, in my view, is wonderful.
John McCain's remarkable role in America's history began before Vietnam. He was on the first ship to enter Cuban waters during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and again on the USS Forrestal, where, strapped into the cockpit awaiting his turn for takeoff, a missile accidentally fired from a nearby F-4 Phantom and hit a fuel tank. The fire burned for 13 hours. 134 men lost their lives. John McCain's life was somehow spared. Perhaps he had more to do. A year later came Hanoi, critically injured and with wounds never properly addressed. For the next 5.5 years, John was tortured and dragged from one filthy prison to another. Violently ill, often in solitary confinement, he survived by the faith he learned from his father and grandfather. A faith that there is more to life than self.
In his book, Faith of My Fathers, John wrote, "In prison, I fell in love with my country. I had loved her before, but like most young people, my affection was little more than a simple appreciation for the comforts and privileges most Americans enjoyed and took for granted. It wasn't until I had lost America for a time that I realized how much I loved her."
When the North Vietnamese realized who his father was, they offered John early release as a PR ploy. He said no. He'd honor first in, first out, like everyone else. And so, he chose to spend 4 more years in hell. 5.5 years later, the war was over, and McCain was set free. The constant torture and isolation could have produced a bitter, broken man. Instead, he came back to America with a smile, with joy and optimism. He chose to spend his life serving the country he loved, first in the United States House of Representatives.
Where else in the history of the United States of America have you had a person over time with the experience that he has?
It says much about the man that Senator McCain led the efforts to normalize relations with Vietnam. 5.5 years in